Hi everyone, and welcome to another in the series of videos covering the main topics in how to use Foxtrot NDIS to manage your supports. This video covers the topic of reports, and in this video we will look at some of the many reports and exports that are provided with the Foxtrot system for you to use. And we can also, if you find any of these reports are not fully what you need, or you want some sort of minor change to those reports, or a completely new report, we can build that for you at a small charge. We have the people here who can build those reports for you. So in Foxtrot, reports basically come in three types. There are exports, which produce a spreadsheet. There are reports, which produce a formatted report, which you can either print or save as a PDF, and then you could email that report or save it in your file system for future reference. And the third type of report we provide is business intelligence interactive reports, which are developed using Microsoft Power BI and are an interactive environment where you can do analysis on how your business is progressing yourself without needing to do any coding. So let's get started and have a look at a good sample of the reports available within the Foxtrot system. So to start with, I'll just open up our participant, John Frost, and we might start with the client contacts report. This is a formatted report. So I'll click on the client contacts report, open it within my browser environment, and there's the formatted report. This report provides all of the contact information for John and all of his professional contacts. So the self and family contacts that you can see are drawn from his comms tab, and they include, as you can see at the top of the list, his emergency contact and all of his own contact information and all of those of his friends and family. And then in the professional contacts, Foxtrot has followed through the relationship to all of John's professional contacts and pulled in their phone numbers and email addresses. So that's the client contacts report. Another important report is the client plan report, which is available here on the front summary screen. Well, actually not the summary screen, it's available on the customer screen. And you can see here there's a high-level summary of the current budget for his NDIS client plan, the amount used and the amount remaining. That's a high-level overview, but if you want to see all the details, you click See More underneath the client plan information, and that will open a full listing of his current client plan status. So as you can see at the top, the plan details with a start and end date, elapsed days and days remaining, and then as we look further down, for each of the NDIS support categories, it shows the budget and the amount used and the amount remaining, and then within each support category, all of the items and the amount of hours provided against each of those items. And if there was a budget for the item, which is optional in Foxtrot, it will include the budget and calculate the hours remaining. So full listing of the customer report that you can save or provide to your participant, showing the current state of their NDIS client plan. Now, there's a full reporting environment here under the reports menu. So let's have a look at basically we're going to look at general reports, which are formatted reports, and general exports, which are spreadsheets. Formatted reports being a report that you can save as a PDF. We'll start with general exports, and then I'll come back to the general reports. So let's have a look at general exports, and you can see there's a big list here. And as I said before, we can add more according to your design, but this should provide a lot of your requirements within this list of reports. And let's just have a look at half a dozen of these quickly to give you a bit of an idea of what they are. So let's start with applications awaiting approval. So how many participants have I got that are still waitlisted, that haven't been accepted? So I click on the report, And in this case, there are no parameters to fill in. I just click export. Opens up this screen here, which is ready to be downloaded to a spreadsheet. This is all the columns in the spreadsheet. And at the bottom of all of these exports, these general reports, there's a little CSV option here. You click on that and it will open this data in a spreadsheet. So open with Microsoft Excel, and there's your spreadsheet of a listing of the currently waitlisted participants. Okay, I'll close that and go back to our list of exports, and let's have a look at billable hours by therapist. So in this case, we need to enter this is going to be a report of the billable hours provided by each of our support workers or therapists. We need a date range, so let's go right back. Since this is a test environment, there's not a lot of data here, so I'll go right back to the 1st of July to the current date. Now, optionally, I can select a therapist and get a report for just that therapist, or I can just run the export and it will report the billable hours by all therapists. So click export, and here's our spreadsheet. Again and again, I can download it by clicking on CSV. Click back. So typically these may or may not have parameters. You just fill in whatever parameters you need to get the report that you want. So again, if I had just selected one therapist for this report, such as myself, and clicked export, and then it would have only produced the export for me. Okay, click back, and again, let's have a look at client plan expiry dates. This could be very useful. You want to keep on top of any client plans that might be coming up for expiry, and you'll need to get a new service booking or renew the client plan. This one has no parameters again, so we click export, and here it is. Very quick, as you can see. It's a lightning fast database. Click CSV, open with Microsoft Excel, and just expand the columns. And there's a listing of all the client plans that are coming up for expiry, and there's the end date and review dates on all those client plans. Close that, click back. NDIS revenue, so I'll jump over a few of these others, but just giving you a bit of a flavour of the sorts of things that are available. So how much revenue is being generated this financial year? So let's go right back to the 1st of July again, to today, and we can get total revenue without a breakdown if we like, or we can get the revenue produced by an individual staff member, but we can just click export and get the total revenue for all staff members. And you can see here what we get as a spreadsheet with each of our service providers listed, and then the NDIS support items, and then the total number of hours of support provided by that support worker against that support item. And if we scroll across, you can see that it gives for each of those support worker and support items the total number of hours and minutes, the unit rates, the dollars worth of support provided, and the dollars worth of support billed. Okay, so that's a useful report, NDIS revenue. Standard member details export, a very useful report. If you want to get a listing of all of your participants, let's say, and all their contact information, you can do that with this. So let's go with select participant. So it's asking you what kind of customer do you want to get a full report for. Let's go with participants. Standard member details export for all participants, export, and I'll open this one in Excel to give you more of a look as well. So come down here, click CSV, open it up in Excel, and this is all of the contact information for all of your participants. So looking at the columns quickly from left to right, status of course is participant, their name, date of birth, gender, date joined. We go further across, then we get to the contact information, email, home phone, business phone, address. So high level information, including all the contact information for your participants. I'll close that and go back. Now, if you wanted that same report for, let's say, your staff members, your staff here, or all your support workers, you could do that. Yeah, in fact, I think if you leave that blank, you can get a report of all customers in your database, including staff, professional contacts, participants, etc. And the last export that we might have a quick look at is unbilled support notes. Now, whoever's running the billing might sometimes wonder, are there any support notes that somehow have slipped through the cracks? Maybe they were added after I ran the billing for that period. This will allow you to find those reports. So let's go again, find those support notes that have not yet been billed. Let's go back to the 1st of July again. Today, we can look for those that are in status hold billing, or we can look for all of them, including those that are or are not flagged for hold billing. Click export, and there we get a list of all support notes. As you can see, this participant, this support item number provided on this date by this support worker has not yet been billed. So you can go and find those and make sure they get billed simply by running the billing again for the appropriate period to pick them up. Okay, so that's our exports. And I promise we go back and look at reports. There's not too much to show in reports. There are a lot more exports than there are reports, and it's easier for us to develop exports for you than reports because we don't have to go through all the formatting rigmarole. However, there's one, just to give you an idea of a report. Let's have a look at debtors aging report. So let's look at all of our invoices for this year, and let's find any outstanding ones and how old they are. So this is going to, as you'll see in a moment, give us a formatted report. Open it with Firefox, or we could open it with Adobe Acrobat. And you can see here that it's giving, for this current financial year, for each of our debtors, like plan managers, for example, or individuals in the case of self-managed supports, all of the outstanding invoice numbers, along with the amount due and how many days overdue they are, 0 to 30, 31 to 60, and so on. So a full report of outstanding invoices. And I think the final thing to look at is what I find most exciting is the dashboard. So this is the business intelligence environment within Foxtrot, as I said before, developed using Microsoft Power BI. And we can develop whatever you want in this area, but by default, out of the box, you get this report that we're going to look at. So it's a 3-page report, and I'm going to enlarge it so I get a good look at it. And this is the first page. And you can see here, this is a profile of our participants, but these reports are interactive. So you can see here that we have, for example, the diagnosis that our participants are living with. So anxiety, depression, well, how many? Well, just run the mouse over the top of that, and you can see that we have 25 participants, or 30, nearly 40% of our participants are living with anxiety and depression. Now, if you wanted to ask yourself, well, how many of those are being provided with support by our main support team? So you can just click on that, and these are all interactive charts on this report, so that each of the panels generally interact with all the other panels. So click on main support team, and you can see that the main support team, you can see the other charts adjust. And there are 9 participants living with anxiety or depression supported by our main support team. And likewise, we can we could click on, we could unclick that. So go back to click on it again to get unclick to open the full list of our participants. And we could wonder, well, culturally and linguistically diverse clients, how many of them are living with anxiety and depression? And you can see that it's 6. Okay, so that's an outline of your participants. So the second chart is supports provided, and here you can see this one is support hours by year. We can drill down. So let's drill down into 2020 by quarter, by month. go back up again. And again, how many hours of support have been provided to participants living with anxiety and depression? Well, let's click on anxiety and depression, and you can see that there are 207 hours have been provided to those participants out of the total of 671. Likewise, we can use all these filters here to filter all the charts. And the third chart we have that comes out of the box is a kind of an interesting one. If you're wondering, looking from left to right, what experience does each support worker have? Well, this is our total support workers, 1,196 hours of support provided. But what about Jenny Bristow? Well, she's provided 138 hours of support, and you can see that the various diagnoses that she's dealt with and the clients she's been dealing with. And likewise, you could say, well, I need someone who can provide support to a participant living with anxiety and depression. So select that, and you can see these are our support workers, and this is how many hours of support they've provided to participants living with that particular diagnosis. So interactive reports allow you to do an analysis of your own business, track the progress of your business, and answer a number of questions you might have in terms of managing the business. So that's all I have. Thanks for watching. As I said before, we can develop new reports for you. We'd love to develop business intelligence reports, exports, according to your needs. I hope you found this useful. If you're ever unsure of the best way to do something, then why don't you give the help desk a call on 02 6233 0900 or email us at helpdesk@stepsoft.com.au. And I look forward to speaking with you then. Goodbye.